In the heart of a busy town, under the clang of hammers and the hiss of steam, lived a man named Ragan, a blacksmith with arms like tree trunks and a voice that could shake windows. People came from all over to buy his tools, his swords, his blades and locks. Each piece was a testament to a lifetime of craftsmanship. His blades were known to cut through leather like silk, and his padlocks could stump even the cleverest thieves. His hands were skilled, his work flawless. But Ragan was also known for something else: his temper. If a customer haggled, he shouted. If an apprentice made a mistake, he roared. If the wind slammed his door shut, he cursed the skies. The clang of iron and the hiss of hot steel were familiar sounds in his forge. But so were the sounds of shouting, stomping, and the occasional crash of thrown tools. A traveling merchant once asked if a horseshoe could be cheaper. Ragun's voice erupted like a forge explosion. "Then make it yourself," he bellowed, flinging the half-cooled iron back into the fire. Sparks leapt like startled insects as the merchant stumbled backward, face pale. Even the wind seemed afraid of him. One day, it slammed the door shut. Ragun didn't miss a beat. He picked up a coal scoop and hurled it at the door. "You dare fight me now?" he shouted at the wind. Most people stayed out of his way, not because they feared his strength, but because they feared his anger. One Monday morning, as the sun blinked over the rooftops, Ragan entered the town square for his usual cup of tea. The air smelled of warm bread and wet stone, and the early market chatter buzzed gently around him. With a heavy sigh, Ragun cradled the warm clay cup between his calloused hands and turned toward his favorite spot, a worn bench under an old oak tree. Just as he was about to take a sip, a flash of color streaked by. A child, maybe 7 years old, ran past, laughing, chasing a red paper kite that bobbed wildly in the morning breeze, and bumped into Ragun, sending his freshly poured tea splashing over his boots, leaving dark stains that steamed in the cool air. For a moment, the whole square seemed to freeze. The child froze. A fishmonger, halfway through laying out his catch, paused with a trout in hand. A baker sweeping her doorstep leaned on her broom. All eyes turned to Ragun. His jaw tightened. He clenched his fists. The red in his face rose like fire licking up dry wood. A deep, dangerous silence settled over him, the kind that usually came before a storm. The boy stumbled backward, realizing what he had done. He looked up at Ragan with terrified eyes, small hands clutching the string as if it could somehow shield him. The townspeople braced themselves. Everyone knew Ragan's temper. Everyone expected the explosion. But before he could open his mouth, an old monk sitting nearby stood up slowly. His robe fluttered gently in the morning breeze, and in his hand, he held something fragile. A clay cup. "Friend," the monk said, walking up to Ragun, "before you speak, take this." Bewildered, Ragun took it. He asked, "What does that have to do with me?" The monk whispered, "Now, imagine this cup is your anger. You have two choices. You can crush it, and it will shatter into pieces. Or you can hold it carefully, and it will hold you." Ragun stared at the cup. It was warm from the monk's hands. Light, fragile. The kind of thing you don't throw, you protect. The monk continued, his voice calm but firm. "Everyone carries their own cup. Some are already cracked. One loud voice, one harsh word, and they break. What kind of man do you want to be, the one who breaks cups, or the one who protects them?" The words seemed to hang in the cool morning air, heavier than the scent of fresh bread or the murmur of the marketplace. Ragun didn't say a word. His hands, usually so quick to clench into fists, now hung loosely at his sides. He looked down at the frightened child, then at the steaming tea on his boots, and for the first time in years, he smiled. "It's just tea," he said gently, crouching down. "Next time, run around me, okay?" The boy blinked, startled. Then he nodded quickly, gripping the string of his kite tighter. The monk, watching quietly from under the shade of the oak tree, gave Ragun a small bow of his head, as if to say, "This is the man you can be." Ragan ruffled the boy's hair awkwardly before standing up. He wiped his boots against the grass, shrugged at the tea seller, and ordered another cup. This time, when the cup was placed into his hands, he held it a little more carefully. As the town slowly exhaled, Ragun turned to the monk. "Can I keep this?" The monk nodded. "Keep it as long as you keep your peace." Ragun returned to his forge with the clay cup sitting on the shelf above his tools. Every time his temper flared, When the iron bent the wrong way, when the fire smoked, when customers came late, he looked up and breathed. He didn't always succeed, but each time he held the cup in his hands, he remembered. Anger might feel powerful, but calm is what lasts. Anyone can raise their voice in anger. It takes real strength to stay gentle in the heat of the moment. What we hold in our hands matters, but what we hold in our hearts, even more.